Yeah, moving on to the first topic of the show, we had a poll online because, of course, Alien Romulus just came out to, I'd say, more or less very mixed reception from fans. So we put a poll on Twitter about what movie in the franchise should we cover on the show, because it's fairly divisive outside of the first two movies. It's like people will there's like a lot of hate around Alien 3 and a lot around Resurrection and of course Alien Covenant, but one that, especially if you look online, is getting kind of like another look is 2012's Prometheus, which is the prequel film directed by Ridley Scott, written by Damon Lindelof, that explores the question of, okay, so humanity was created by this alien race that was using this black goo to create life, and it's about this ragtag group of scientists who are going to the planet where they are supposedly originated to try and meet our creators. And if you didn't know that this was an alien movie, I feel like the movie does a fairly decent job of reminding you a lot of it. And I think when it came out, it got a lot of flack for, the usual, just lazy critics bag of tools when it comes to reviewing movies. It's like plot holes out the ass, or, characters making dumb decisions. And some of those I feel like have gotten a little bit reevaluated, but what are some of your guys' thoughts on Prometheus when you first saw it? Rewatching it now, 12 years later, what are your opinion changed on it, or are you kind of still consistent?
I wasn't actually reviewing movies at the time, but I remember seeing this movie in theaters and being pretty much on the same path as those critics that were critiquing the movie about oh, these characters are making really dumb decisions. But on a rewatch, I could kind of put those critiques a little bit in the back as well. I actually really enjoy this one, but I do find Prometheus to be incredibly frustrating because when I want it to go hard, it doesn't necessarily, it kind of pumps the brakes a little bit. And it's frustrating based on that, just because if this movie actually nailed pretty much everything, I feel like we would be talking about Prometheus being up there in the aliens category. It's a return to form. I would be saying, I'm saying that more for Alien Romulus now, but I feel like if this movie actually hit everything out of the park, we would probably have that conversation before Romulus. So
yeah.
Oh, even just the marketing leading up to it, there was that viral video of Guy Pearce as Peter Wayland at a TED Talk in 2023 that was getting people hyped. The trailers that weren't really showing you much of anything that was happening in the story. Having Ridley Scott come back to this world almost 40 years after he created the original, and the cast that was involved with just an insane cast of Noomi Rapace, who was just coming off of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo films, Michael Fassbender, who I think this was a year after I think he was Oscar nominated for Shame. I don't remember if he was. Also Idris Elba, at the time we called him Discount Tom Hardy with Logan Marshall.
Yeah.
And of course, Charlize Theron, Guy Pearce. And all of that was especially because I liked movies before, but I think around the 2010s was really when I was looking deeper into it, becoming more of a cinephile at the time. And when 2012 came around, this was at the top of my anticipated of the year. And that was the same year that the Avengers came out. So,
yeah, 2012 was stacked.
Just to give a little context. But yeah, when I first saw Prometheus, I was on board. It was this is one of the best looking movies of that I'd ever seen. Ridley Scott, the scale and cinematography that he's showing off. The design of the planet, how much lore and world building that you're getting with this, and upon rewatches, it was Okay, this movie, I'm kind of confused about what its aim is because, and that was kind of a thing I had with Damon Lindelof as a writer at that time. I don't think he really worked out his kinks until
Mm.
later in his career with stuff like The Leftovers and Watchmen.
Mhm.
And with this, it felt like it was a movie that was about posing the questions of, all right, where do we come from? What does it mean to exist? And rather than answer those questions, I feel like Ridley Scott and Lindelof were just more like, yeah, it's more or less up to you to come up with your own answer. It was like we
Mhm.
meet these engineers who went through the trouble of creating life with the black goo that is infamous now from Covenant and from Alien Romulus, and now they're just going to try to kill us. And I think I don't know the engineers took one look at the internet in 2012 and just said, "Yep, fuck this, time to reboot."
Nope, no more. But no, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, I think when in 2012, I wasn't a big of a movie nerd as I am now.
Mhm.
But like even then, like this movie had caught my attention, like with the trailer. Like I thought it was like such a effective, and I still think it's such like a cool like trailer, that first teaser for this movie. And like as an alien movie, like I did enjoy that I was doing something different, but like you guys, I had that kind of same frustration where it was like,
Mhm.
all right, this is different. Like I know this isn't an alien movie, my expectations
Mhm.
should be different, but like part of me was still expecting the usual fare we get from like alien movies.
Mhm.
Like but don't get me wrong, I love when Ridley Scott goes into his hey, here's some answers to your questions, but here are also like 20 more questions that are gonna go unanswered for like a
Yeah,
while. And like
and I feel like the whole thesis of this movie can kind of be summed up in this scene between David, who's the android on board the ship, and Logan Marshall Green.
What we hope to
Mhm.
achieve was to meet our makers, to get answers, why they even made us in the first place.
Why do you think your people made me?
We made you because we could.
Can you imagine how disappointing it would be for you to hear the same thing from your creator? May I ask you something?
Please do.
How far would you go to get what you came all this way for? Your answers. What would you be willing to do?
Anything and everything.
And that is informed consent. Dose it with the black goo.
Like, all right, I'm gonna put my finger in your drink now.
Shit, say less.
That scene's great. It also just shows how great Michael Fassbender is, like in
Yeah.
this movie, and how disappointed I was, like when I was rewatching like all these movies up to Romulus, waiting for Romulus. How disappointed I was in Covenant, actually, just because Covenant.
I was like, Michael Fassbender is a phenomenal actor, but even he couldn't deliver some of the shit that they had David do in that movie.
I
Well, you don't
hate
like
to
when he
say
plays
it,
the flute with himself?
It's like, blow gently.
I'll do the
I'll
fingers.
do the finger. I'll do the
I hate to
fingering.
say it, but I think with Covenant out, I think it might. I think Alien Resurrections might not be the worst Alien movie. Maybe that's a hot take, but
that is certainly a take. I said it during the show, during the Tunes review of Romulus. Is like I don't because I had never seen Alien 3 or Resurrections before I saw Romulus. I watched all those after the fact, and I still hate Resurrections more.
Okay, don't get me wrong. Alien Resurrection is a really bad movie. Like it's terrible. Like the tone is wild.
But I will give it that it's still consistent with a lot of the themes of weird sex stuff that is present in all of the Alien movies.
Yeah.
It's consistent in that, right?
Yeah, and at least some of the people are at least kind of having fun, like in the movie. Like Ron Perlman randomly, like
Right?
just,
Yeah, I always forget he's in that.
yeah, and the basketball scene in Alien Resurrection is definitely probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen in like an Alien movie. And then I hate to say it, but I do kind of like the birth scene at the end of Resurrection with the scary alien man baby calling back that Romulus calls back to. So
you got to have a weird baby or weird sex scene with the alien in like an alien movie, and I think like Resurrection, like for how weird and like how much of that movie doesn't work, like for some reason the weird alien baby works for me.
yeah, and it I was almost a little bit on the verge of tears at the end of Resurrection, like when that spoilers for that movie if anyone hasn't seen it, but when the alien gets sucked out into space, pretty much like every other at the end of every other alien movie, like you could hear like the alien crying "Mama," and I'm just like, oh my god, like that's like the most amount of emotion that I ever felt like for any alien movie, like especially since Covenant didn't really have any emotion, but it's kind of crazy. So
it's weird. And like speaking of emotion, like I feel like Prometheus tries to pack in a lot of emotion, like in here, like especially with our two leads, Logan Marshall Green and what's her name, Naomi Rapis. I always forgot to say her last name, but yeah,
I think Naomi. I think you had it right.
Okay, we're just gonna go with that. But yeah, like with those two characters, like they try to pack in that emotional factor. Like these two scientists, these two married couple, both passionate about like finding their origins and like super like into each other, super into science, everything. And then of course it has to go wrong because it's an alien movie, and if you love somebody, they're probably gonna die.
Yeah, most likely. And I think probably one of my favorite things in Prometheus is the scene where she knows like something is growing inside her, and she goes to like the AI sort of like operating table, and she gets this like the alien cut out of her. I know a lot of people kind of like to pick that part apart just because like the logistics of like her getting sewn back up and having like the energy to
walk around afterwards.
But it's an alien movie. It's science fiction. Like it's not. It's some of this stuff isn't supposed to make sense. But I don't know. I think that scene was actually kind of badass, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's like probably one of my favorite scenes in like just in alien movies in general. Like I just love the tension. I love like her acting in that. I love just how gross it all is. Like alien movies do a fantastic job of like grossing you out. And like while this movie does wait a while to get to it, like when it does, like I think the payoff with the nastiness is great.
Yeah, I really hope I didn't upset Nick because he left after I said Alien Resurrection is better than
right. Like he's very upset now.
He just did. I don't think so.
He will not be able to recover.
Right, but I still think Resurrection is a bad film, but I think that there's some good things there. But
for sure, yeah. Like I think, I mean, with all the alien movies, I mean, I haven't rewatched 3 and Resurrection in a while, but I feel like there's always at least some good or like something that you can walk away from that you like in it. Like it's not always bad.
Yeah, but Prometheus is. Yeah, I think, especially on a rewatch, it's one of those movies that I can definitely like appreciate. But the thing that kind of bothered me a little bit, like with Prometheus and then obviously Covenant, is that Ridley Scott really seems to be more focused on like the whole religion and like creation like aspect and like the creator. And to be honest, those are like probably my least favorite part of it, like any alien movies. I liked it. I liked Romulus because it went back to like its roots of being kind of like this claustrophobic, like horrific, just like and terrifying like space station. And it kind of went back to its roots. But yeah, Romulus is one of my favorite movies here. So
No, same. I'm right there with you. Like Romulus is so good. I rewatched it this past week and was like, yep, still love it. But yeah, no, with Prometheus and especially with Covenant, I think that's why I dislike Covenant so much, is because like from all the stuff that I enjoyed for Prometheus is like kind of just left out of Covenant. Like all the human characters I kind of don't care about. Like they're just there. Michael Fassbender pulling dual roles is good, but like I don't know, just the follow up to Prometheus, it doesn't feel like as satisfying. Like as the setup with the way the Prometheus ends, like with David and what's her name? I think Elizabeth is her name in the movie.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Whenever they leave at the end, hey, we were talking about how great Resurrection is in the baby.
I was joking that you just dipped out just because I said Resurrections isn't as bad as people were saying. You're like, I'm out of here.
My partner had is sick and is recuperating at our house, so I just had to check on her real quick. So it's no big deal. She's fine now.
Okay.
All good.
As long as she's fine. So
yeah, but yeah, with this movie, I feel like a lot of the criticism was like, wait, this is supposed to be a prequel. Why is everything like so much more advanced than anything we saw in the 78 movie? And my defense of that is like this is Peter Whalen trying to like unlock the secrets of existence and immortality at the end of it. This is like an expedition that is answering a question that he is deeply passionate about. You think he's not going to throw everything he's got for that? He's breaking out the
he's pulling the Jurassic Park
new shit.
Like we spare no expense. The stuff that's not even out yet.
New shit. What are you? Friggin' what was the name of the ship from the original? It was the Nostromo. Oh, what's your purpose? Mining? Nah, get this broke ass shit like 20 years ago.
Because we all know what billionaires like to do. They like to
of course,
spend tons of money and destroy the planet.
Yeah. Peter Whalen is basically Elon Musk, but competent and makes his own shit. Actually,
I would put him more like maybe like a Jeff Bezos. Maybe an accurate comparison, a little bit, but not really.
A little bit better.
Yeah. Somewhat.
Yeah, at least Bezos actually started his own business, not just bought into it with a part-time money.
Oh, Josh is in the chat.
Don't have to be Musk. Oh, Josh is in there?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking up the show. Oh, I'm fucking up the show, are you? Hey, I have hosted the show by myself before, and I will continue to do so. So go sit your ass back down, Josh. Anyway, back to Prometheus. But
let the boys play.
But yeah, back to our regular scheduled movie talk. I feel like I'd say that of the Alien, chronology, I'd say it's not coming anywhere close to Alien or Aliens or even with the newest edition, Romulus. I really loved that movie. And I'd say this is like maybe slightly below Romulus. I still think it looks phenomenal. The scale of it is great. The performances from the whole cast, especially Numir Pace and with Michael Fassbender, who has solidified himself as one of the most interesting characters in the whole Alien series. You can't. There is so much more good here than a lot of 2010s film critics would have you believe.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you, Nick. There's like a lot. There's so much more good, like in Prometheus, than Covenant, as we keep repeating. And on a rewatch, I definitely had a good time watching it. Like I wasn't necessarily bored like during all of it, even during the scene that everyone likes to pick apart. Like, why would they take their helmets off? They're scientists. And I'm like, it's really interesting about that specific scenes in general, just because I read like an article with Damon Lindelof. Like I forget where the article was, but he basically stated like writing an Alien movie is probably one of his like bucket
Mhm.
lists that he checked off, and it's one of those things where, like, if Ridley Scott kind of asks you to, like, when you're writing these characters to have them take off their helmets, you kind of do it.
You figure out a way.
Yeah. You don't say no to Ridley Scott. So I'm sorry,
Mhm.
Sir Ridley Scott.
Also, it's like this is supposedly like an alien planet. These are supposedly the ones that created humans. Wouldn't you want to also breathe the same air as God?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, hey, if the AI says it's safe to breathe, then I'm gonna believe him.
I'm doing it.
Hey, we already put AI in our hands anyways. So
yeah, thanks Doozy Dumbler for the comment. Alien Covenant and Prometheus were both better than Romulus. Okay, respectfully disagree.
I think we're all
that's a
Romulus
take.
hive here.
Yeah, we're at least the ones on stream right now.
We're all up in that Romulusy.
Getting all that Romulus.
I'm all about that giant scary man baby at the end of Romulus.
Yeah. I want to hang out with him.
That terrifying ass baby.
He knows how to party
that
for
third
sure.
act is something else.
Leave it to
My
Fede Alvarez
friend-
to craft an image that haunts my soul and my digestion.
I mentioned most of the time, like on social media, that I always sit in the front row for movies, and I got a front row ticket for Romulus and IMAX. And when that third act came, I was just like,
so did you.
My friend had mentioned, like, during the whole Alien, Romulus, and just like Alien rewatches, that like most, if not all, Alien movies kind of have like a fourth act where it's like, oh, you think the movie's winding down, movie's about to end, we're resolving, time to go into sleep pods and go to sleep. Nope, some fucked up shit's gonna happen. Time for some nightmare fuel and like a little bit more action, a little bit more horror before like the credits roll. And I always like love when the movie does this. Like Prometheus even does it, and I love like the final act of this movie.
I mean, does Prometheus do it?
Kind of like
I feel like this and Resurrection are kind of like the most straightforward 3-act movies.
I mean, I think
in both there's not like a lull period before it gets to like the final climax of it.
I guess you're right. Like it's more of a Prometheus feels more like a little stinger, a little epilogue after like they leave the planet and like the big old face hugger like is eating on the engineer. Like that feels more like the little stinger thing for that movie.
Yeah, the stinger that's kind of like a lot of Marvel's post-credit stingers now. Now it's like, hey, look at this cool thing that you will never see again.
Yeah, we're not gonna follow up on that.
A face hugger will return.
A face hugger, not the face hugger.
Not the.
But yeah, that was our review for Prometheus. A movie that I think gets unfairly maligned as far as the Alien saga quadrilogy, or what is it now? Septology.
Yeah. That there you go.
there you go.
I'll just say the Alien franchise is very close to the Fast and the Furious franchise.
It's getting there.
I'd say especially with Romulus, I think it's closer to something like the Child's Play franchise. Because no matter what insane turns those movies took, all of it still stayed canon. At least except for the remake, which I think is a fine movie on its own, but if they didn't call it Child's Play, it would have been like way better received.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the Child's Play movies.
They are a fun watch, except for
fun.
3.
Yeah, 3 is very not memorable.
Yeah, but Bride of Chucky and even Seed of Chucky are kind of like on my Halloween watch list. Especially because in Seed of Chucky, there's like an entire theme of subplot of Jennifer Tilly being a character in the film, and of course the Tiffany doll is voiced by Jennifer Tilly.
It's great.
That's awesome.
And there's like they're trying to carry her throughout her mansion, and the Tiffany doll is like, "Fuck, she's fat."